Now, from the Student Union on the campus of UW-La Crosse, it's the Mike Schmidt Football Show. The Mike Schmidt Football Show is brought to you by Honda Motor Works, your electric, natural gas, and hybrid vehicle headquarters at 4th and Cass, La Crosse. By Schilling Supply, serving businesses with critical supplies since 1897. Schumacher Kish Funeral and Cremation Services in La Crosse, La Crescent, and Onalaska. And Associated Bank. Experience the better side of banking at Associated Bank. Now, here's your host of today's program, Terry Erickson.
Welcome to UW-La Crosse. We're in the beautiful Entertainment Cafe in the new Student Union for the weekly Mike Schmidt Football Show here on KQEG. We also want to thank all of our sponsors and all of our guests for being here. It's live and also played back on Tuesday at 6:30. And now, the star of the show, Coach Mike Schmidt.
We're back at it. It feels like football weather out there, doesn't it?
It does. You made a comment in the paper on Sunday talking about how proud you were of your team. And how I think everyone felt the same way. All the fans, I think the players felt that way, the 92 championship team, the Wall of Fame, everyone felt exactly the same way despite the loss.
Yeah, I mean, we come out and lose to a really great team, and Oshkosh is a great team, and we asked our guys all week. We just said, hey, don't leave your bat on the shoulder and watch strike three go by. Take your biggest hack at it this week and give your best bit of preparation, and then go out and play as hard as you possibly can. And there's no question our guys did that on both sides. Oshkosh made a lot of really great plays, and our guys were right there. And I think anybody who watched that game can tell that this program's coming. Our guys are, what a great group of kids we have. I mean, just never quit, never stop playing. And really, we're not that far off when you watch what we're doing. We just aren't. And, we had such a great weekend with the alums here. We had the 92 National Championship 25-year reunion Saturday night. And they were there, obviously honored during the game. Jason Gagnon honored for the Wall of Fame. And it just was really a great weekend, sharing and reliving some of those memories with the guys, being around Coach Terry, Coach Herring, and listening to what those guys meant to the players and what they still mean to them now in their lives years and years later. And so I just think that what our team is doing, what our staff is doing, is really in line with the values of UW-La Crosse football and the tradition and where this program goes.
Well said. And you mentioned the reclamation project is on schedule. I talked with the Yankees and Stan Davis and Tony Krisnovich. You said Larry Terry and Roger Herring, and they all feel the same way. Jason Gagnon was on our show. We interviewed him at halftime. So specifically, share with our viewers the silver lining that you saw besides what you already mentioned in that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because it's just dang tough having to go through a loss. It is, and eventually we got to win those games, and it can't be, and we don't feel like saying, well, we're close, and that's okay. In no way, shape, or form does our team or does our staff feel being close is okay. We want to win those games, and we're trying desperately to win those games, but at the same time, we have to understand where we're really at, how close we really are, and the necessary steps to kind of take in order to get to that point. And I think you just look at just how well we're playing, and we're forcing teams to beat us with really good plays, and Oshkosh certainly did that. So we didn't beat ourselves. Even some of the big plays that Oshkosh broke, it's not like there's nobody there. It's not like it's guys that aren't in coverage. I mean, we're literally inches away from making 4 or 5 of those plays that are really 50-50 plays, and they made them and we didn't. And so we've got to get to the point where we can get our guys playing that much better and really continue the progress of where we're really at.
You should know that in the middle of the week I talked to Pat Cerrone, who I know quite well from Oshkosh, the head coach, and he said 2 things. One, we know we need to play at our very best. There's a target on our back, number one, and he didn't reveal that Dylan Hecker was not playing.
Yep.
And I can understand why. And second of all, he said, I have a lot of respect for Coach Mike Schmidt and the culture and the effort that his players are putting forth on the field. Now, you didn't know that, but that's one great compliment.
Yeah, and it is. And I have a lot of respect for Coach Cerrone and his staff. That's a great group of guys and a great program that they have going on. And we certainly we feel the same way about them. But I think that anybody who watches the tape and anybody who sees what we're doing can see that our guys are close and that our team is close and that we have a really good football team. And unfortunately, the last 2 weeks, we felt short against two great football teams. And so in order for us to be a great football team, we have to make those plays and have to get in as a staff. We got to be better too and get our guys in better positions to make those plays.
Well, speaking of great teams, we're going to talk later on about another great team on the horizon on Saturday, but let's quickly break down the game. Oshkosh gets ahead 7-0 on a Brett Casper pass. You answer with a Holcomb 12-yard pass, 7-7. Then there's second quarter, an impressive drive. Jalen Clark, who was on the show last week, scores also in the second quarter, a couple of TDs for Oshkosh. But then you answer Nick Holcomb, another pass, 13 yards, 21 all at half. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we kind of thought we were where we thought we'd be at offensively. I really thought we'd have a great game offensively. Colton in the paper asked about, did you think Nick was going to have a good game? Did you see him? Honestly, I thought he was going to have more catches than that. We knew he was going to bust out and have a huge game. I thought we were where we wanted to be at least offensively. The last drive before half, Oshkosh goes down and scores with under 30 seconds left in the half. That's a tough one, and we missed some plays on that drive that we really should have stopped. So we were a little disappointed in that, but boy, the margin for it, and especially when we watched the tape, it was really good football being played, and there are good plays being made by really good players, and so it just felt like through that second quarter especially, it just was punch for punch, and our guys really stepped up and handled it well.
Excitement all throughout the stadium, and in the third quarter, you take the lead on a Jalen Clark, another touchdown, and then Oshkosh answers, Mankowski 2 TDs, and the final score 42-28. You gave up 556 yards, but we're going to talk to Jake Landry about the offense. The offense was, I thought, spectacular. Gave up a lot of yards, but still, everyone walked away feeling pretty darn good.
Well, yeah, I mean, for a loss, there's a lot of positives to take. Unfortunately, we made some really good plays in the second half where Brandon McCandis makes a sensational play, intercepts a screen pass. We get another interception in the end zone by Pete Kissling in the fourth quarter, and we can't convert them. The stops we made defensively, we couldn't make when we were still in the lead or in the game. And then obviously we get stopped on we get the interception by McCandis, and we get stopped on the 2-yard line and can't punch it in to make it 42-35 and then see where it lands out. And those are those plays that we're talking about. And obviously we gave up some big plays and some chunk plays on defense. But they're getting that against everybody, and our guys played so well and so hard. And literally, when you go back and watch it, there's an offensive pass interference, without a doubt, confirmed by our officials on the long touchdown pass to Mankowski that was missed. And even with that, we're right there on those plays. We just got to get that little bit to make those plays to bust through and win those games.
Well, I thought that was missed also, by the way, as an official. I saw, but defensively, as we end the segment, Luke Winden 8 tackles, McCandis 6, Krieger and Neiman 5, and so the defense, except for some of those errors and explosive plays, they graded pretty well too, didn't they?
Yeah, we did play okay. It's tough to say that when you give up such plays, but I think if you would have said on Wednesday, or even right before the game, that Brett Casper's going to be 12 for 25 with 2 interceptions, you'd say, oh, geez, that's a pretty good deal. Fortunately, he threw 317 yards on those 12 completions, which just shows you their ability to go down the field on what we think is a pretty good pass defense and a pretty good secondary.
Yeah. We're going to step aside just for a minute, and when we come back, we'll have a couple guests here on the Mike Schmidt Football Show right after this.
The all-new Honda Fit gives you the flexibility of the magic seat with the fuel efficiency you celebrate at the pump. From Honda Motor Works.
You'll love more miles per dollar. Honda Motor Works.
Since 1897, Schilling Supply Company has been your single source provider of business solutions and supplies. Their 65,000 square foot facility stocks over 3,000 items ranging from packaging, janitorial, industrial, food processing, safety, and specialty products. Schilling Supply provides the essentials you need to meet your customers' and employees' expectations. Businesses like Gunderson, Quick Trip, Dynamic Recycling, and Badger Corrugating rely on Schilling Supply to deliver the right products at the right time. Schilling Supply Company. Visit on the web or call.
Stunning from any angle, the HR-V is a crossover of style and versatility.
You'll love more miles per dollar. Honda Motor Works.
Welcome back to the Mike Schmidt Football Show. We're joined on the set by two young coaches that Coach Mike said they would be good on the show. Nick Miller, Vinny Whipple. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Well, I could read your font on the text you sent last night, Coach. How excited you were to have these young guys on the set.
Well, we talk about all the time, especially with our recruits, how we've got such a cool mix of a couple full-time guys, a couple, as we label them, more experienced coaches on our staff, and then we've got an awesome group of younger coaches, whether they're interns like Coach Whipple is, or young student coaches like Coach Miller. And so we're truly lucky to have these guys, and we couldn't run our operation without them and what they do. And they take so much pressure and relief off of our coordinators and certainly me as the head coach, but because they do such a good job, not just because that they're here to work, but they do such a good job, whether that's in recruiting or with recruits or with the game plan or scout team or whatever it might be, and then along with having to coach a position. And so we're really, truly lucky to have such good young coaches, and we're trying to get these guys to stick around a little bit longer. I know Coach Miller will get done and graduate in the spring, and we'll try to keep him around here and be on staff for a while with us. And Coach Whip, Coach Whip was a great player at Dubuque for us and played safety there for us, and was fortunate enough to get him. I called him right away in the summer. I said, all right, I got this spot. What do you think? And he hemmed and hawed on it and eventually jumped in and has done just really a great job with both positions he's worked with on the defensive side. So we're really lucky to have these two guys here with us.
I'd say so. Well, first of all, Nick Miller from Watertown.
Yep.
And I read a little bit about your resume, and you were quite an athlete in Watertown.
Can I jump in real quick
You
on this?
can.
I recruited the heck out of Coach Miller when I was at Dubuque, and he turned me down, that son of a gun. One of the few, by the way, that would do that. But turned me down and finally was able to get back with him here at La Crosse.
And you forgave him for that.
I did. I looked past it. I'm a good guy.
That was big of you, really big of you. But you never expected him to forget about that, did you?
We kind of talked to him, and I told him I was going to La Crosse, and he's like, I understand, because he was obviously an alum from there. So, and I vividly remember this. I kind of said, hope we come together in the future and kind of cross paths, and sure enough, here it is, and couldn't be more happier with the spot that I'm in and the opportunity that Coach Schmidt has given me. So,
but you started your athletic career at Watertown, and you had a lot of success.
Yeah, I played alongside Sam Zwig and Tarek Yagi, who Sam graduated from here last year, and Tarek obviously is our quarterback. So those guys did a lot of the heavy lifting when we played together. So I just kind of helped them out along the way.
Well, we know both of them, of course. Sam Zwig, by the way, coaches at Logan now. He coaches one of our grandsons, and so we're glad to see him at La Crosse Logan. Let's not forget about this handsome boy, Vinny, right here. Who, by the way, you stole kind of my thunder because I was reading his resume of all the success he had at UD, most valuable player, all conference, best-looking player on the team, according to what he said. I don't know if that's true or not. But
He would. He'd tell you that. 100% true.
So anyway, a lot of success there, but you started in a place we talked off camera a little bit, a small little town in Iowa, near where David Letterman grew up, I think.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I'm from Eagle Grove, Iowa. Coach Schmidt always jokes about if you drive 10 minutes past it, you're going to fall off the face of the earth.
So
just a small town.
It's not the end of the earth, but you can see it from there.
It's close.
It's close. But you had a success. You were a four-sport athlete. Now, in small, I came from a small town. In small areas, you can play basketball, football, track and field, and baseball, and not in bigger schools. That's what you did, right?
Yep.
And did a lot of players follow that?
Yeah, for the majority, yeah. most of them did. You had to, or else you wouldn't really have the numbers out there.
Well, Vinny, in your second season working on the defensive side, talk a little bit about what your responsibilities are.
This year, working with the linebackers, I mean, it's a lot of film breakdown, doing whatever Coach Janice or Coach Schmidt needs us to do, along with Coach Gaston and I, just sitting at the computers, breaking stuff down, finding tendencies, letting Coach Schmidt and Coach Janice know what we see and something that might help them.
So is there a program that you subscribe to that breaks down tendencies of opponents?
We just use Huddle, and then it's up to us to figure out what we want to break down.
Do you also break down your own tendencies to see that you're not predictable?
Yeah, I think that's more Coach Janice will look at that, and we'll look through the play calls and everything.
And Nick Miller, PE major, and you were a UWL safety. I remember you playing here.
Yep, I played for a couple years and then had a couple of concussions and kind of went down the coaching route, which is awesome for me because that's what I want to do in the future. So it kind of worked out really well for me.
You started working with DBs, and now you're working running backs.
Correct.
So what are the things that you look for? What are the things you teach? What are the things you see on tape that you correct Jalen Clark, Trenton Smith, and all your running backs? What do you look for?
Yeah, so every week we watch the game before, the game prior, and kind of an example that we had, Jalen started for us in the Whitewater game, and we saw some things in 60 protection. He was kind of jumping up a little bit and almost kind of double teaming with the guard, which is not necessarily what we want to do, but we corrected it in the next, and then this week was a lot better with our 60s protection. So, and credit to Jalen for being coachable. So
actually, we talked on during the game. He had some really tremendous blocks where he sold the house. I mean, he gave a tremendous effort. I think both of them might have been on the edge, but gosh, he blocked very well. Credit you for that?
Oh, absolutely not. No, credit him. He's a great kid, and he does what we ask of him. And he's great running the football and great in protection. So it's exactly what we want in our running back.
So being young coaches, you have to wear multiple hats, right, Vinny?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you got to help out through the office.
You got to go get lunch for the head coach?
I have a couple times actually, but no, going down to help out in the equipment room and just pick up wherever you need to, kind of keep things rolling.
Good. You talk about two guys with charismatic personalities that are up-and-coming coaches, and that's Nick and Vinny. So.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun, and I mean, shoot, we trust them coaching whole position groups and stuff like that at times, so they do a great job for us. Couldn't do it without them.
Well, thanks for being on the show, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
When we get back, we're going to have two additional, a coach and a player, so this will be special. We'll be right back after this.
The all-new Honda Fit gives you the flexibility of the magic seat with the fuel efficiency you celebrate at the pump. From Honda Motorworks.
You'll love more miles per dollar. Honda Motorworks.
Since 1897, Schilling Supply Company has been your single-source provider of business solutions and supplies. Their 65,000 square foot facility stocks over 3,000 items ranging from packaging, janitorial, industrial, food processing, safety, and specialty products. Schilling Supply provides the essentials you need to meet your customers' and employees' expectations. Businesses like Gunderson, Quick Trip, Dynamic Recycling, and Badger Corrugating rely on Schilling Supply to deliver the right products at the right time. Schilling Supply Company. Visit on the web or call.
Stunning from any angle, the HRV is a crossover of style and versatility.
You'll love more miles per dollar. Honda Motorworks.
Welcome back to the Mike Schmidt Football Show. We're joined on the set now with Nick Holcomb and with offensive coordinator Jake Landry. It was a standing ovation.
No,
Like,
there better
what?
be for these guys. Let me tell you that. I understand that there might not always be for one for me, but for these two, there always should be.
You know, you told me last night, to nobody's surprise, that two valuable people, one, I think he's going to be All-American. Now, he doesn't like to hear that. I said last week, I said to Kim, retire his jersey, or last time he was on, and maybe it was premature, but as things are evolving, retire his number 11.
What a great player Nick's been. I mean, what a great year he's having, and just so that, you know, the more people that can hear more about Nick and his story is great for us and for Nick. I mean, he deserves it. His performance obviously speaks for itself. This is going to go down as one of the best years as a wide receiver in the history of UWL football. It truly is, and he's not done yet. He's got 3 more games that he's got to put that together for. But what a great player and what a great season he's having.
You know, and it's not surprising. I don't make sure our viewers know this. People out there, 514 yards, and you ran 88 plays because of this offensive coordinator, Jake Landry.
Yeah, I mean, I knew Coach had a great game plan up for those guys on Saturday. I knew we'd have a lot of success. Talking to Coach throughout the week, he was dialed in, knew what was going on, and I thought he had a great game plan on how to attack him and get the ball in this guy's hands as much as possible. And obviously, Drew David came out and executed. I mean, geez, what more can you say about Drew David and the guts that kid has and just the tenacity that kid has? But Coach had him ready to go, as he always does. He's just a superstar coach and does it all.
Let's start with that. My comment during the game was that so many coaches set up players for failure. They don't really understand their strengths. They don't play their strengths, and oftentimes their weaknesses come full board. You looked at Drew David's particular skill set, and you developed your offense based on that. That was remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, Drew, I've said this multiple times now, Drew's biggest strength is his mind. He's a very smart kid, you know, and he doesn't have the biggest arm in the world, but, you know, we were able to throw a lot of quick game. You know, we ended up getting 8 batted balls knocked down, but, you know, I couldn't be more proud of how Drew came in and played.
Well, let's stay with that a minute. When I look at offensive coordinators in the NFL, Andy Reid, of course, head coach, Jay Gruden, but they're both offensive geniuses, I think. But my favorite's Josh McDaniels and what he does as an offensive coordinator for the Patriots. Some of the way he develops his vertical game, his scripting, and so on. Do you look at any of that and kind of take a page from some of those renowned OCs?
Well, he's got a pretty good quarterback to be working with too. So, but no, I mean it's fun to watch college football, and kind of college football. NFL is a little more different, but you know, to watch games and kind of see what other teams are doing and how we can apply that to our offense. But try not to get too far away from what we try to do every week.
Nick Holcomb will be signing autographs right after the show, by the way, so stick around. 15 catches, 190 yards, 2 TDs. And I think his biggest asset is he understands, he's a multifaceted person that understands the routes, the tree. He can run any pattern. None of them are not part of his repertoire, and especially his fade. Would that be correct?
I mean, I guess so. I guess fade is the easiest. It's straight. Everything else you got to actually work for, but I don't know.
But sometimes the defense is right there, and it's essentially a jump ball, and your timing is just excellent.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the time we're throwing back shoulder. It's not necessarily a jump ball in all cases because the quarterback is throwing it where he's supposed to be throwing it, and I'm just going up and making the play.
Do you look at any NFL receivers? A.J. Green, one of my favorites. I think he's 85% in his routes. I mean, in his catches, based on the number of passes coming his way. Do you look at that at all? Or Green Bay, Devontae Adams? Do you look at that and evaluate yourself based on maybe what some of those players do?
Honestly, probably not. I don't really look at that. I just kind of stick to what I'm doing. I don't ever really compare myself to anybody. I'm doing what I'm doing me, and that's basically what I do.
Coach, do you look at game plan, look at defenses, and the routes that you have him run, are they based on anything you see?
Yeah, definitely. It's what we see on film. You know, in Oshkosh, the credit to them, they throw a ton of coverages at you. Coach Cerrone from what we saw in film, wasn't going to pressure us very much. He was going to drop a lot of guys in coverage, and we knew that we had to find the coverage that he was trying to play, trying to find new ways and to get Nick the football was a big thing this week, trying to get new routes for him, line him up in different spots. But yeah, definitely what we see on film, we try to game plan our offense into what we see based on what they've done the last 4 games.
I'm sure you've already looked at Platteville. What are some of the things that maybe an early kind of preview of what you may do against them?
Yeah, you know, last year going into this game, we had to throw the ball 66 times. You know, and this year again, they're lining up in a front that is very similar to what we got last week, and they're playing a lot of what we've seen so far is man coverage. Now, you know, last week we threw the football a lot again, so I'm sure their D coordinator will have something up for us. But going into it, we're pretty excited to get after them and go down to Platteville and get back on the field.
Well, you're both a tremendous gift to this university, and I just wish that this Nick Holcomb had a couple more years of eligibility.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
We talk about it all the time. I mean, and he's on pace to truly. I mean, he's on pace to break every one of our really meaningful single season records right now, and I think he's only 2 away from the school touchdown record, and he's just on pace to keep doing it. So I know he'll finish strong and have just a remarkable season.
And maybe even more important is the kind of person he is, which says a lot about the character of your team.
Great student, great kid.
Exactly.
Without a doubt, great competitor.
Before we close, what's happening around UW?
Hey, soccer conference champs, WIAC conference champs this weekend, which was huge and awesome for them. So congrats to Coach Murphy and his team there. That we're so happy for that coming back on Saturday night with a conference championship. Tennis had a great weekend at the WIAC conference championships, finished second in the league there. And volleyball this week on Wednesday, huge match against Whitewater at home. Both tied for first place in the WIAC and lining it up at Mitchell Hall, 7 o'clock Wednesday night. Come out and support our ladies.
I encourage that because I'm going to be at that particular match too, and both cross-country teams are doing well too, so it's a great fall here on campus.
It's been a great fall.
Anyway, hope you enjoyed today's Mike Schmidt Football Show. We want to recognize our sponsors quickly: Schilling Paper, Schilling Supply, Schumacher Kish Funeral Homes, Honda Motor Works, Associated Bank, as well as our friends and for joining us here. We'll be here each week to talk football with Coach Mike Schmidt. The show is replayed on Tuesdays at 6:30. Until next week, I'm your host, Terry Erickson, thanking you for joining us here on KQEG.
You've been watching the Mike Schmidt Football Show on KQEG TV. The Mike Schmidt Football Show is brought to you by Honda Motor Works, your electric, natural gas, and hybrid vehicle headquarters at 4th and Cass, La Crosse. By Schilling Supply, serving businesses with critical supplies since 1897. Schumacher Kish Funeral and Cremation Services in La Crosse, La Crescent, and Onalaska. And Associated Bank. Experience the better side of banking at Associated Bank. Join us next week at this same time for the Mike Schmidt Football Show.